Hey, what's up everybody? Back with the video here today. This time we're in the Hawk 12 on steps from the southern spawn, which is probably my preferred spawn on this map. I like both spawns, honestly. I like this map overall. It's one of my favorites. But I think I like this side a little bit more just for the positions you can use. You can get a little further forward and kind of abuse some bushes. There's one or two you can use. I'm going to use the one in the middle. There's a little riskier one in the middle of the field that you can get to. I have used it before. It is possible. I feel like I tend to use it when there's only maybe one other light tank on the other team. And when there's multiple light tanks, I'll use this one a little bit more. It's not always the case, but I feel like that's kind of a trend. And yeah, it's just for escapability reasons. I feel more protected. Obviously, I'm in the ditch. I can get away a lot easier here. And yeah, it's just a safer option, but it's still just as effective, almost not more. Because the other bush to my right is actually, you can only spot them crossing where this Wheezy is. Well, usually the Wheezy people aren't there. But you can also spot people going to the left flank. You're not going to get much damage or anything off of them, but it is helpful to know how many tanks are going to the other flank. Kind of helps you build the picture. As you can see, you don't want to be either of these heavy tanks that just got killed on both teams. Don't be the Wheezy. Don't drive that far out in the field. And please, 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 do not be that M103 and sit in the same kind of bush area where your light tank is. It's very frustrating for light tank drivers. Please don't take your heavy or TD or anything like that directly next to, behind, near somebody who's scouting or appears to be scouting. Should sound common sense, but it's not always. So that's the initial position. We spotted a good amount. I've gotten way more than that. But now that their top tier light tank is out of the game, I feel a little more bold. So I'm moving into the second bush now, which is the one that's probably more effective for spotting them crossing where this SDI is, and even if they're spawn. But it's not as good for spotting the left side. So, like I said, you can spot fairly well from here all the way back to the railroad tracks, I believe. Almost, depending on your crew. Again, it also helps. Yeah, well, never mind, that guy just got annihilated. But if you know what tank you're playing, and that's something that's going to come back into factor a little bit later. The Hawk 12, I think I've mentioned this in the vids I've done on it before, has very poor shell velocity. So you really have to know and kind of get used to it. And there I kind of forgot. But I'm not going to forget the rest of the game. I believe, if I remember correctly, I'm actually going to use it against the enemy Hawk 12. Who played a pretty good game this entire thing, so we're going to watch out for him. He seemed to know what he was doing to a good amount. So we got to be a little cautious around him, make sure we don't throw away our tank or anything like that, or give him an easy opportunity. But we're still going to be aggressive. That's not surprising. That's us. That's what we're going to do. Now at this point, I'd almost argue that instead of worrying about this TD, we could have gone in and helped the right flank, but we see the light tank has fallen back, and we know this ISU is alone now and pretty much separated. My only concern at this point was maybe already snapshotting me over the ridgeline or the railroad tracks. That's happened before, but that doesn't happen, and we're able to take him off the board, and now we're going to go help well, possibly over this flank, but first we're going to see if we can line up some shots on the RDs that are very spotted. Fortunately, we get a bit of lag right there, I guess you can see, and kind of jumps around. So we're going to get a little clearer shot here. Don't have to do it with the railroad cars, and then we're going to take him down. Hoping for the second one for the ever so favorite Pascucci's, but that's not going to happen. That shot was kind of iffy anyways, even if the 432 didn't kill him before it landed. Now my cap card's going to have a seizure real quick. Yeah. Now I could be aggressive, really aggressive here. and go in on that STI. And I think it was another ISU with him, if I remember correctly. And this game's very close. We haven't really won either flank, and they still have some fairly full health tanks left, including, looks like a 257, which we all know is a pain to deal with, especially in lower tier tanks. Trying to pen them is very frustrating. Now here, unfortunately, I get spotted. It's not ideal. I really didn't want to get spotted. I kind of want to move around and hopefully pop off this ISU without him getting lit up and get the drop on him. But he misses, and so we go in and finish him off. And now we have the STI, and we're just doing a little wiggle, hopefully making him miss. Fortunately, we do track him with the shot, which is good. Positive with third person. That, yeah, we don't do damage, but we are able to take his track off. Then we go to the retrack, and for some reason now he repairs. Don't really know. That last shot was a little risky. We could have just aimed it. Russian space side armor is a bitch sometimes. I don't think he would have got a shot into us, but again, I think I mentioned in the last video I put up, if you can aim, you have time to aim, just aim the shot. And at that scenario, pretty much I think I did. So now we only have a couple tanks left. We have 2 mediums, T-54 and 432 on our team, and are already left alive. T-54 is still at their base, and he's kind of been chilling there. It seems like a while, possibly. This 432's played a decent game so far, it seems like, so we're going to try to give him some support here. Try to get some damage out of this. You see, now we're kind of loading the heat rounds, and that's just because, well, 257, I'm not going to pen him frontally with regular. It's going to be a pain to even pen him with the heat rounds. But maybe we can also get lucky. It's always nice when that happens. And at the very least, we're keeping these guys lit up for our arty, which is still in play, which is nice. It gives us an advantage in that department. So we're able to actually request fire on those guys and take some damage off of them. You see, my main concern really, yeah, 257. But I really want to get their Hawk 12 out of the game. And that's just, I think I've preached this before, but especially in these real close scenarios, controlling vision on these type of maps is so important for winning the game. It really is. It just is. It's just a matter of fact. And yeah. So I know that was kind of a not win scenario. Let's see the 257. I feel kind of bad about just I'm abandoning the 432, but that fight isn't working for me. I'm just wasting time. And especially at this point, I recognize that the STI on their team, another one, is isolated by himself, and isolated tanks are great targets for scouts and light tanks, and mediums even, obviously. But if you can come up and get a gun off the board, always a good result. And now we can focus on the remaining tanks. Somehow our T-54 went from 1200 health to, well, dead very quickly. I don't know how. I guess he just drove in the open, I guess. Now, it kind of sucks. I want to help that guy, I really do. But it's not beneficial for winning the game, honestly. I want to do my best to try to get a shot off, but I don't want to lose a lot of hit points when I know this game is still very winnable at this point. And yeah, luckily he was able to do quite a bit of damage to the 257, which is good for us because that was really going to be a pain to try to deal with. We still have arty in place, so I'm still trying to play a little bit of scouting. But I know they're going to be pushing down, and that position is not great for lighting them up. So again, we're going to just keep falling back, kind of reposition, and see if we can spot them coming into the base, basically. We're going to go up where the STI was. It's a fairly good spot. There's some bushes you can use for defending the base from that side. And that's just kind of the mindset right now. Mainly because it's also a wider open field. There's not as much cover, so I know I can spot them from a much longer distance away. Versus that flank, there's a lot of trees in the way that can provide some concealment, and there's some ridge lines and stuff that they can kind of use, as well as the dip on the right side. So this is a more advantageous position for us, I guess, in that we get this big, wide open, flat field, and sure enough, we spot 2 other tanks moving in. I really wish I had kept the heat round loaded, because I'd be able to take this guy off the board, and our bat chat already is able to take the 257 off the board. So then it would have made it a 2v1. But unfortunately, we don't have the heat round loaded, and now I load one again. But unfortunately, already gets taken off, and so now it's just myself versus what is an easy-ish target in the T28 Prot. He's a one-shot. His turret doesn't traverse fully around. As my cap guard has another moment. But my real threat, as I've been saying this basically the whole game, has been this other Hawk 12. He's still on full health, just like me. He's played a decent game here. But my priority is either damage him, or if I can catch the T28 Prot out in the open. I know he's a one-shot, and always getting a gun off the board is great. Especially when he has 400 alpha and could 3-shot us very easily, or do module damage as well. So we spot him, but unfortunately it doesn't quite come off. He dips back down into the ditch, which I said in the beginning of the game is very good, considering there's a decent amount of cover, and it's kind of hard to get sight lines all the way straight down it, because it curves like an S. So I'm trying to do that right now, but I'm unsuccessful. And at this point, I kind of figure the Hawk 12 is kind of chasing me. At least that's what I'm assuming at this point. It's all a guessing game. We don't have last minute positions on console, so it's really all just in your mind, trying to figure out and outthink the opponent, especially if they're in another light. And yeah, so we loaded the AP rounds back up. I know the T28 Prot was headed towards our base. I actually thought he was possibly going to try to go into the cap, so I'm going all the way around back here, and maybe we can get lucky and the Prot will get on the base. Spoiler alert, that's not going to happen. He's actually, I believe, he may have turned around and is trying to go back towards my base, or his base. So this is kind of a funky game right now. It's been a lot of chicken, not a ton of damage, but it's, I guess, a good example of a lot of positioning and being in the right place at the right time, and just moving about the map to your advantage. So I don't spot them. I'm a little impatient. That's just me. It's kind of a reason for why I'm so aggressive at some points, when I maybe sometimes shouldn't be. Sometimes it works out, you know. Happens and happens. And at this point, I've started to think, well, the T28 Prot's basically like on 80 health, and I spot both of them right here. So I take the snapshot off, and then I know the Hawk 12's coming on me. So I immediately switch to my HEP rounds that I still have, that have 320, and we're able to slam one into him and catch him on fire, which is a great result. Something else kind of key about this little engagement with him, like I said, I kept in mind very quickly that the Hawk 12 does not have good shell velocity. So basically, I didn't want to go in a straight line, because then it makes it easy for him to shoot me. So as soon as I saw him going in a straight line, I pressed RBRT, because then it's my best shot to get damage out without using more advanced, I guess, third-person aiming. And so in the juke his shots, or at least hope to juke his shots, in the fact that hoping he was just RBRTing, I wasn't going in a straight line, I was just going in a slight curve as much as possible, and it worked out. He only tracked me, and I think the other time he may have missed me or was just on fire burning. So just kind of knowing what your enemy's vehicles are, what your vehicle is, and just using it to your advantage. And again, we bait a shot from his Prot here and take him out. You could have just eaten a shot from him and just gone in, but I didn't want to risk getting set on fire. You saw we just got the other guy on fire, so I didn't want to take that risk. And I just wanted to see if I could juke the shot without actually taking any damage, and it worked out. So we finished with 3,500 damage, 2,400 assisted, the Scout Medal, and the Radley Walters. Really good result. Not the highest damage ever. Still a solid damage game for a tier 8 Scout and assisted, but just an overall, I think, very balanced game. Off positioning, spotting, early scouting, just kind of a do-it-the-all kind of game, encompassing what a scout is capable of, I guess. So, hopefully you enjoyed, and I will catch you next time. Peace.